I searched long and hard for a worse line here in my head as we were watching it. By the way, check out all of our live coverage on tytnetwork.com/live. We're live every day at 6 p.m. Eastern, and we're live every day during the debates, the town halls, and the election nights. And I've got one here. There was no big gaffes. There's no big fails. Nothing we get to put a stamp on, go, ha ha, on Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton. I just didn't love this answer. This is video 4. Let's check it out.
How do you anticipate getting anything done in Washington when compromise is a bad word?
When I was First Lady, Senator, Secretary of State, I worked closely with Republicans, some of the most partisan Republicans. I'm not saying this is easy, but as my good friend Debbie Dingell knows, you have to work at it every single day. You have to get up, you have to try to find the relationships, you have to build on it, you have to find common ground. And that is what I will do. Now, the other thing I will say, which is a little bit kind of funny, is when I'm not running for something, the Republicans say really nice things about me. And I have like a whole archive of those comments because I did work with them, and I will work with them. I'll go anywhere to meet with anyone, anytime to find common ground. I will also stand my ground because I will disagree with some of the things that they want to do. Compromise is not a dirty word. It is the way democracy has to work, and that's what I will do.
2 reasons why I didn't love that. One, I don't think it plays that well with Democratic primary voters, where she's constantly talking about all the Republicans who love to work with her. I know the context in which she's saying it, and I know it will appeal to some people, and I know she's trying to distinguish herself from Bernie Sanders, who she's saying is too much of an ideological person who won't be able to get anything done. But still, it sounds like, oh, Republicans love me, man.
Yeah.
You know, and I keep working with Republicans. So that's the minor portion of why I didn't like that line. The major portion is the substance behind it, because I know what Hillary Clinton compromises with Republicans on: Republican positions. So your Republicans want a trade deal, Hillary Clinton agrees, right? Your Republicans want to bail out Wall Street, Hillary Clinton agrees. And the list goes on and on and on of things that she has compromised with Republicans where we got almost nothing back.
Yeah.
We just agreed to whatever the Republicans wanted. So whereas, for example, Bernie Sanders did compromise with Republicans on a couple of things, Veterans Affairs, they had a good compromise on. He got more funding for veterans. Relatively easier to do, but still it was a struggle, and he got that done. She said as the one thing where she got something for Democrats was working on foster kids. I mean, you want to talk about easy. Like, you know, what are they going to do? Like, no, we will crush the foster kids. Maybe they're Republicans, but a relatively easy victory. But something that was not an easy victory that Bernie Sanders got the Republicans to go significantly progressive on. I mean, it's also appeals to some people on the right wing, but a lot of the establishment Republicans fought it, was auditing the Fed. And that was a significant accomplishment. And to be able to put together a real coalition on that, he should brag about that a lot more. So when I hear Hillary Clinton talking about compromise, what I hear is, I'll go towards the Republicans a hell of a lot more than Bernie Sanders will.
Yeah, and look, now that I'm doing a lot more in-depth research on reproductive rights for Hillary versus Bernie, I'm noticing that they are the same in terms of their voting record. However, there's a big difference in the way that they've supported these issues and the way that they've talked about these issues. So Hillary will frame these issues in a way that will appeal to centrists, that will appeal to Republicans, so she can close the gap between Democrats and Republicans when it comes to reproductive rights. Whereas Bernie is much more, these are reproductive rights. I want women to have them. I'm pro-choice. That's it, right? He cares a lot less about framing it in a way that would seem appealing to Republicans. Now, some people might say, well, that's a bad thing because we want both parties to work together. We want compromise. But as you know, during the Obama administration, whenever the issue of compromise comes up, the country moves even further to the right.
Yeah.
You know, that's really interesting. Just one more thing, John. To build off of what Anna is saying, when I read about the details of how they got the compromise on the Veterans Affairs issue, even the Republicans said, hey, listen, he would not move off his position. We had to go closer to him. And then at the end, he compromised. But I got to tell you, I think he got a pretty good deal for his side.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you want to happen. You don't want to be obstinate, but at the same time, you don't want to do preemptive concessions, because then that moves the bill further along to the right-wing side.
I can't say whether that bit from her will actually help her, but I don't think it's really a misstep. I think it goes in line with her strategy, and it's an attempt to appeal to a group that she needs to appeal to. So there's two ways. One is that she is trying to pitch herself as the progressive who gets stuff done. And so stressing your ability to compromise and previously work with people and they secretly actually like me definitely works or helps to pitch yourself as the person they're going to work with. And also, she is currently being beaten in the open primaries when independents and Republicans are allowed to vote. She loses those groups to Bernie Sanders. Now, it's funny, of course, that he gets pitched as the ridiculous liberal that no one else would want to work with, and he beats her amongst independents, but he currently does, and she needs to do better. Michigan is an open primary, so there will be more independents than there are in closed primaries. And so it might be that that's an attempt to get some of those independents who aren't as hardcore Dems, who don't want a Dem who says she'll never work with anyone. It could be an attempt to appeal to them.
I hear you on all that, except it hasn't worked so far. Independents are going overwhelmingly to Bernie Sanders because they don't like to talk of compromise on establishment positions they don't like.
Right.
They like people who are saying, no, I'm going to stand up for the American people and not do what the establishment wants. So I understand the path she's trying to forge, but it hasn't worked yet, at least with independents.